Welcome to Revision Week 22. This week we are looking at Paper 1 and system software, specifically the operating system, the OS. Make sure you have your revision sheet with you in front of you, ready to complete as we go along. Okay, so specifically for the exam you need to know about system software. Well, system software covers a variety of different types of things, but it is software designed to run and maintain a computer system. Any of the software does that is system software. Specifically today we are looking at the operating system, which is the essential piece of software, a complex piece of software responsible for running the computer. Without it, the computer would not work or function at all. And it does many different things, and there are different types of operating systems that you may know about: Windows, Mac OS, etc. And of course there are utility software, which we will look at next time, which is used to help maintain the computer, and there are different utility ones. For the exam you need to be aware of applications, software that do various tasks, but you are not expected to cover lots of specific types of them for this exam. Okay? But just be aware, an application is a piece of software for the user that runs on the computer, but the system software is for the benefit of the computer system itself. So, what is the operating system? It's a complex piece of software. It is software that runs the computer, and it does many different functions to do that. So, before we move on, two definitions. What was system software, and what is the operating system? The function, the purpose of the operating system. Okay, checking your answers. Software designed to run and maintain the computer system is system software. Covers both of those, any of those softwares. And the operating system specifically is software, a complex piece of software that runs the computer. It runs it. Okay, now we know what it is. Let's look at some of the functions. It does many different functions. The operating system provides a platform to run applications, user interface, manages device drivers, manages memory, multitasking, and it deals with file and disk management. And we're going to quickly look through these today. Okay, first one, user interface. The user interface allows users to interact with the computer. Without it, you have no way for the user to actually operate and use it, interact with the computer system. And there are several different types. The two I'd like to recover quickly. Command line. This is where it's text-based and the user enters specific commands to complete tasks. It's more for advanced users, very powerful, and it uses less resources, but it's more difficult to use. You have to remember complex commands. Graphical user interface, or GUI, is designed for the everyday user. It's nice and easy to use. It uses WIMP, Windows icons, menus and pointers, to help the user interact. It uses more resources and runs slower because of the more graphics, but it's much easier to use. Okay, user interface. On your sheet, what's the purpose of user interface? And tell me some things about GUI and the CLI. Okay, purple pen, add to your answers anything you might have missed after pausing. So, purpose of user interface, to allow users to interact with the computer system. And a GUI, graphical user interface, it uses WIMP, Windows icons, menus, pointers, designed for the everyday user, easy to learn, requires more resources to run. However, CLI, command line interface, text-based, written commands, designed for experienced users, very powerful, and uses less resources to run. Purple pen, add to your answers. Okay, we have also device drivers. The OS is responsible for managing device drivers. What is a device driver? It's a piece of software, again, that allows the OS, the operating system, to communicate with hardware, devices like printers, keyboards, etc. Every device, such as a printer, has a device driver, a piece of software that allows it to interact with the operating system. It sits between the device and the operating system so it can talk to it. Imagine every device has its own language, essentially, and the operating system translates the messages, allows it to communicate. Okay, every device on the computer system has its own device driver, and when the computer loads, the OS chooses the correct device driver to load into memory so it can talk to those devices. Okay. Memory management. The OS, the operating system, is also responsible for managing memory, RAM and virtual memory, and how it's used. Okay, it manages memory. Well, why is that important? Well, there's only a limited amount of RAM in a computer. So when programs are opened, they are loaded into RAM so they can be used. And when they are closed, they are removed from RAM. Otherwise, RAM would be full up very quickly. So removing them frees up space. And when the RAM is full, the OS then makes use of virtual memory on secondary storage to put programs into and load between. So programs loaded into RAM, they are more programs loaded. When they are closed, they are removed from RAM, which makes space for new programs and data to go into RAM. Memory management. The operating system is also very important, responsible for user accounts. Lots of different users may use the same computer. The operating system allows users to have their own account with different privileges, settings, file areas, and access to different programs or resources. So, a person signs on to their account on a computer. They may have access to different programs than other users. They have their own personal private file area that only they can access. And they may have their own settings such as language, fonts, wallpapers that changes when they log on. You can also have different security measures such as pins, passwords to limit access to a personal account on the computer. Okay, on your sheet, these three boxes here, device drivers, memory management, user accounts. Complete this now, please. Pause the video. Okay, hopefully you have paused, written down, checking your answers. Device drivers, piece of software that allows the OS to communicate with hardware. Memory management, how does it do it? Well, loads programs into RAM, removes them when they are closed, and when RAM is full, virtual memory is used. And user accounts, what does it let them do? It has their own file store area, different access to programs, privileges, and settings can be personalized, things like language, color scheme, fonts, etc. Purple pen, add to your answer. Okay, final section. So, the operating system is very important because without it, you cannot run programs and applications. Applications cannot run directly on the computer. They need to run on top of the operating system. And the operating system provides a platform, a place for those applications to run on by configuring hardware, by giving access to the CPU memory, and by translating stuff. Without it, programs cannot run, such as Word, Excel, PowerPoint, etc. The operating system is also responsible for multitasking, and that is when more than one program can be running at the same time. You could have Word open at the same time as listening to music on Spotify or browsing the internet and things. Multiple things happening at the same time. And how does the OS do that? Well, it manages the memory. Remember, it loads programs into memory, removes them, and uses virtual memory. And it controls the CPU time. It allocates a little slice of time to each program that's running and uses a queue to control the order that programs are running. It will give each program a bit of time with the CPU and keeps flicking between them in a queue. Sometimes there may be tasks that are priority that jump to the head of the queue, but the CPU manages the time of the CPU. Operating system is also responsible for file management, controlling how files are organized on the hard disk and to the user using folders, and also what programs are used to open files with different extensions. So it manages how files are stored on secondary storage. It organizes them into a hierarchical structure using folders, which helps the user. Files and folders can be created, moved, and deleted to have a nice file structure. And it also controls what programs those files open with. For example, an extension of PPTX would open with PowerPoint because that is the program needed to run that program. This can be changed in the operating system, but the operating system manages what programs files open with. Okay, final section on your sheet. Fill in these 3 boxes. Pause. Ready to correct. Okay, checking your answers. Why is it important to have a platform? Applications cannot run directly. They need the operating system to run on top of. Multitasking, more than one program at the same time, and it manages memory and CPU time. File management, folders are used to help organize files, and extensions, the operating system controls what program is used to open each file type. Pad, pen, ticking, correcting your answers. Okay, as always, go to LearnCodeIn, revision quiz 22 this week. Make sure you check and correct each answer if necessary. 100% correct is the target by the end of the quiz. Good luck. See you in lesson.